The recent wildfires in Los Angeles remind us of the devastating power of fire, how it eats up everything in its path, leaving behind scars on land, animals, and people. But these fires aren't just modern tragedies. More than a century ago, in 1906, another Californian city faced devastation of an unimaginable scale. To say it burned is a mere understatement. San Francisco nearly vanished off the map. How did one of the most iconic cities in America fall victim to a firestorm that brought it to its knees? Well, grab your Stanley cups or fire extinguishers as we take a trip down this history lane. But first, if you are yet to subscribe to our channel, please hit the subscribe button. Help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. San Francisco, a city of iconic landmarks, was a booming metropolis in 1906. It was regarded as the cultural and economic capital of the West Coast, having a population of over 400,000 people. The city was thriving as the California gold rush in 1848 brought many people to San Francisco. Its proximity to the Pacific Ocean and strategic geographic location made it a prime location for trade. The city was flourishing. Skyscrapers were rising, mansions painted the famous Nob Hill, and cable cars rattled up the steep and narrow streets. San Francisco had it all. Or so it seemed, because beneath the glitter and glamour of the glorious city, there were cracks. Literal cracks. You see, San Francisco was perched dangerously atop the San Andreas Fault, a visible crack in the Earth's crust that is responsible for many geological activities, most importantly, earthquakes. Basically, they sat atop a time bomb, and at that time, San Francisco's infrastructure wasn't exactly the standard they are now, so when the earthquake that would change the history of this mega city struck at exactly 5:12 a.m. on April 18, 1906, they were less than ill-prepared. The inhabitants of San Francisco were violently awakened by the Earth itself as a colossal earthquake with an estimated magnitude of 7.8 had been unleashed from the San Andreas Fault. Buildings crumpled like sandcastles, entire city blocks collapsed, bridges and roads split apart. Essential infrastructure, including water and gas lines, ruptured, and the entire city was plunged into chaos. Terrified residents, rudely jolted out of their sleep, scrambled for safety amidst collapsing blocks. Debris and streets split open beneath their racing feet. It was disastrous. It was estimated that at least 300 to 700 people lost their lives in the quake. The reason for the numbers being uncertain is far darker than we think. Although the earthquake had lasted a fearsome 1 minute, it was just an opening act, setting the stage for an even greater catastrophe that would engulf the city in a black smoke of terror. During the earthquake, gas lines had ruptured, electrical wires had fallen, and stoves, some of which still had fires on, had fallen at different parts of the city. These sparked fires, and so before the people could catch their breaths from the quake, a large fire had started and was quickly spreading through the city. 1906 was an era dominated by wooden structures, and the fires spread at a terrifying speed, devouring everything in its path. With buildings reduced to a pile of rubble and the winds spreading flames faster than the firefighters could react, it didn't take long for San Francisco to transform into an inferno. You think things were already bad? It got worse. Remember that the earthquake also damaged the water mains, which were already old anyway, so the firefighters had nothing to fight the fire with. They tried battling the inferno with buckets of water, but it was ineffective in the face of such raging inferno. For 3 days, the flames advanced unchecked, and iconic neighborhoods like Chinatown, Nob Hill, and the financial district were reduced to ash. Other attempts to check the blaze often proved counterproductive. The US Army called in to assist with firefighting and tried using dynamites to create fire breaks. A wise decision, no doubt, but many of these explosions ignited even more fires. One of the blasts meant to save the waterfront caused even more flames that destroyed warehouses and piers. It just seemed as though, despite their efforts, the city seemed bent on burning to the ground. And burn it did. At the end of the 3 days, when the fires finally died out, the mass of the devastation was almost incomprehensible. Nearly 28,000 buildings were destroyed, and over 230,000 people. More than half the city's population were left homeless. Families were separated, children orphaned, and many had fled the city. There was a record of over 3,000 people, although the actual numbers remain uncertain. Makeshift camps dotted parks, beaches, and even ferry boats as the residents looked at their once bustling, vibrant city become a smoldering wasteland of rubble, ash, and smoke. It was as though their proud city had suddenly become a ghost town. Conditions were dire. The financial toll this had was equally staggering. Property losses were estimated at $400 million. That's almost $13 billion today. Insurance disputes sprang up as many companies refused to cover damages caused by the fire, leaving countless families destitute. Many wondered what would become of the once thriving city, but something remarkable happened. Despite the horrific tragedy, San Francisco's residents refused to abandon their city. Plans for reconstruction began quickly, with architects, engineers, and urban planners coming together with the vision of a more modern metropolis with better infrastructural plans put in place. Bricks and steel replaced most of the city's wooden construction. Fireproof walls, floors, and roofs were implemented, and they rebuilt and upgraded their water structures, ensuring there was enough water pressure and supply to fight fires. They also constructed new reservoirs and pipelines. They recognized the need for earthquake-resistant construction, so seismic safety measures were put in place during construction. Within a decade, just like the metaphorical phoenix, San Francisco had risen once again, stronger and more ambitious than before, and taught them a valuable lesson that attention to aging infrastructure and disaster preparedness remains a top priority. The Great Fires of 1906 remain a defining moment in San Francisco's history, and while firefighting and natural disaster prevention methods have improved greatly, the recent LA wildfires are a testament to nature's power and the need to keep improving and planning so that these disasters can be better curtailed and their effects minimized. While it remains clear that fire is a force to reckon with, we also see that in the face of unimaginable disaster, we have the power to rebuild, learn, and come back stronger. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel if you find this story fascinating. We're committed to telling more stories that take you back in time